Welcome to the Get Organised with DECLUTTRME podcast with myself, Shelina. I hope you're well wherever you are in the world. So I've had to deal with this many times in my life, and even now I'm still dealing with this. So I thought it would be great to talk about toxic relationships and how to deal with them and to declutter them. I have had toxic relationships since I was young. I was bullied a lot at school, so then had to deal with the gang and herd mentality from people with the bullying. And then it's moved forward, into my adult life. Like I have friends, and I value my friendships and my family and etc. And then I've had to deal with toxic people, being horrible to me in different ways. And I'm not saying that I'm innocent and that, I don't have a mouth on me, which I do. But I've had to deal with a lot of toxic relationships, and I'm sure as a listener, maybe you have as well. And so I wanted to talk about the different types of toxic relationships and how to deal with them and to declutter them, because it is something that takes over our lives and we need to get rid of it, really. Yeah, let's just declutter it. So, toxic relationships can take many forms. They're from romantic relationships to friendships to family relationships. They can be draining, stressful, and even harmful to your mental and physical health. So it's important to recognize them and to take steps to declutter them from your life. First, let's talk about what makes a relationship toxic. So some signs of a toxic relationship include constant criticism or belittling. So if you feel like you're always being put down or criticized by the other person, this is a sign of a toxic relationship. Another type is lack of respect for boundaries. So if that person doesn't respect your boundaries, whether in terms of time, space, or emotional needs, that's a sign of being a toxic relationship. So, if they are always bothering you when you're busy and not giving you space to have time for you or for other things, that's crossing the boundary, and that is being toxic. Another type is manipulation or control. So if the other person tries to manipulate or control you, whether through guilt, fear, or other means, that's toxic. So I had that a few years ago. I got rid of this person, but they were continuously gaslighting me. And it got to the point where they were gaslighting me before gaslighting became a thing. So if I'd say something, they would manipulate what I said and twist it to make out like I was crazy or wrong or stupid. And it was continuous, because I was talking to them, on a regular basis. And there wouldn't be a week where it wasn't a change of the narrative of what we were talking about. And I would end up in tears and think about what I'd said. And it was awful. It was truly awful. I was so glad when I got rid of that person. I felt like a weight had lifted off my shoulders. It was pure gaslighting. It was purely toxic. Another type of toxic relationships is verbal or physical abuse. So, if they're verbally or physically abusing you at any point, all the time, sometimes, you're in fear that they're going to do it to you, that's hugely toxic. Another thing is negativity and constant drama. So if that person is always negative, critical, or creates drama, that's toxic. And I had that with somebody I knew, and we'd go out and it got to the point where she would always be negative. You'd just be sitting there and she'd just be negative. She'd complain about stuff in the restaurant or in the bar, and then she'd drink and get even worse. And it was just exhausting mentally. It was embarrassing as well. I just didn't need that anymore. So I got rid of her, and I sort of stepped back and just started staying away from her. So that's not the right way to do it. I should have told her to her face, but I just thought it's just better not to have the drama and just to start fading away from her life. And feeling drained or exhausted after spending time with a person, that's also toxic. So, if you feel drained, tired, emotionally exhausted after spending time with them, that's not good for your soul and not good for your life. So you need to get rid of that. If you're experiencing any of these things in a relationship, it's important to take a step back and assess whether that relationship is worth salvaging. If not, it may be time to declutter that relationship from your life. But how do you do it? It's not always easy to cut ties with someone, especially if they're a close friend or a family member. So here are some tips to help you declutter toxic relationships. Be honest. If the relationship is no longer serving you, be honest with the person about how you feel. It's important to communicate your needs and boundaries in a clear and respectful way. This can be difficult. And as I said, I haven't always done that. I've taken the route of fading away. So if you're worried about hurting the other person's feelings, it's important to remember that you have the right to prioritize your needs and your well-being. So set the boundaries. If the person continues to behave in a toxic way, it's important to get, to set those clear boundaries and to stick to them. This might even mean limiting your interactions with them or cutting them out of your life entirely. For example, you might want to stop answering their calls or texts, or you might choose to unfollow them on social media. It's important to be clear and consistent in your boundaries so that the other person understands what is and isn't acceptable behavior. Now, some people will never understand that. There are those people, what are they called? Narcissists, who will never understand why nobody wants to, why people don't want to talk to them, why they're avoiding them. So you just have to just give up with them and just take it as a lost cause and just set that boundary and disappear from their life. Another thing you can do is to seek support. So ending a toxic relationship can be really difficult. So it's important to seek support from friends, family, or a therapist. They can help you process your emotions and provide a safe space to talk about your experiences. You might also consider joining a support group or seeking out online resources for people who have experienced toxic relationships. So if you've been abused, it's great to talk to a support group or to talk to a therapist. Sometimes friends and family can't help because it's such a heavy burden that's been on you. You've been with such a toxic person and it's been so bad for you that you need to get outside of resources. Also practice self-care. So ending a toxic relationship can be emotionally draining. So it's important to prioritize self-care during that time. Make time for activities that make you feel happy and fulfilled, whether that's spending time with your loved ones, practicing meditation or yoga, indulging in a hobby you enjoy. So what I would do is go hide in the cinema and just watch a brilliant movie in the cinema alone with no phone on, nothing. And it was a way to calm my feelings and emotions, especially when I was going through bad times with people. So remember to prioritize your mental and physical health during this time and take the time to heal and recover. Decluttering toxic relationships can be a difficult but necessary process for creating a healthier and fulfilling life. By recognizing the signs of a toxic relationship, setting clear boundaries, seeking support, and prioritizing your self-care, you can take steps towards creating a positive and healthy relationship in your life. So I hope you found this useful today. Thanks for tuning into the episode of the Get Organized with the DECLUTTRME podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share this with your friends and family. And don't forget to visit my website, declutterme.com, so that's DECLUTTRME.com, for more tips and tricks on decluttering your life. I hope you loved it and see you next time. Take care. Bye.